Now, Francesco, he wrote a famous book named, well, a famous poem named Africa. And he named this book because it was a Roman general with a name similar to this name. And so it was kind of like a shortened version of this Roman general. Now, this Roman general name was Scipio Africanus, or Africanus. So he just took the NUS off of his name and used the word Africa. Now, this poem became famous in Europe, and he became into a famous poet all over Europe. Now, mind you, this in the 1300s, and he also coined the word Dark Ages and spoke about 1,000 years of where the so-called Renaissance happened after that. And all of this is significant because you got a group of people on earth that don't know their identity, and they're calling themselves Africans, and they're calling themselves African Americans. Now, this man, Francesco, he pretty much coined this word Africa. It was not in existence before this man wrote this poem back in the 1300s. And then the poem came back out in 1870s when they started coining, what is 1874, when they started these so-called nations in the land, in the continent that they now call Africa. They start naming these countries over there, and they started naming the whole continent Africa. You see, they didn't name it Africanus, they named it Africa. And so all of this started to reemerge in the 1874. Now, also, this individual, he was sort of a atheist, or he pretty much was rejecting the Bible and the concept of the Bible. Now, here go the information. It says Africa is an epic poem in Latin hexameters by the 14th century Italian poet Petrarch, or Francesco Petrarch. It tells the story of the Second Punic War, in which the Carthaginian general Hannibal invaded Italy, but Roman forces were eventually victorious after an invasion of North Africa led by Cornelius Scipio Africanus, the epic poem's hero. So he got famous from writing a poem about this so-called Italian guy that went and took over the landmass of so-called Africa, and he beat this pretty much general that was trying to invade Italy. So he became a hero, and he made this Roman general a hero. And the connection that I'm making is that let's get that Slovakia. Now, he came up with this dark age concept. And now that goes back to Revelations 20. Now, when you look at in Psalms, it talks about that these individuals would name the land masses after themselves. And so all of this fame that he acquired came to a head in the Renaissance, and when slavery had reached its peak and pretty much ended, they started pushing this Africa situation. But it all stems from this guy, because he was already on the fact that he was rejecting the Bible. He was pushing that the dark peoples was ruling these 1,000 years. And he was pretty much saying that we can live this life without this Bible. You see, that's what the Renaissance, that's what they call him, the father of the Renaissance and the father of humanism, because he's saying us Italians, we can overcome these peoples that was ruling the Dark Ages, and they claiming to be peoples from the Bible, but we don't feel that that's how things is gonna go. We can do things without these gods in the Bible and this special religious book. Now I'm gonna read the prophecy. It says in Psalms 49:11, their inward thought is that their houses shall continue forever, and their dwelling places to all generations. They call their lands after their own name. So that's where you get America and Africa from. These so-called not Italians, but these Edomites. Now let's go to Revelation and get that prophecy matching up with what he said about these Dark Ages situation. Now he says in verse 2, it says, he laid hold on the dragon, that old serpent, which is the devil and Satan, and bound him 1,000 years. Verse 3, and cast him into the bottomless pit to shut him up, and to set a seal upon him, that he shall deceive the nations no more, till the 1,000 years should be fulfilled. And after that he must be loosened for a short season. And so that whole scenario was happening in the Dark Ages. And this dragon that he was talking about, when you go to let's go to 12:3, it say, and there appeared another wonder in heaven, and behold, a great red dragon, having 7 heads, 10 horns, and 7 crowns upon his head. Then in 9 it say, this the great red dragon that was cast out, old serpent, called the devil and Satan, to deceive the whole world. Same situation. So when you go to 13, it talks about the same situation, a beast that came out of the sea, and it says that the dragon gave his power to the beast. So it's the same thing. Then when you go to 17, real quick, 17, what is it? 17, let's see, I think 12. It say the 10 horns which thou sawest are 10 kings. So these are not real horns on some kind of serpent. this is 10 kings, and the dragon is a symbol, is just a symbol of for the 10 kings. You see? And the beast and the dragon is the same thing. That's why the dragon gave his power to the beast. They're the same kings. And these kings was said to be red. And when you go back to 12 and it say red dragon, that's contrary to the woman with 12 stars. See, the woman got 12 stars on her crown, on her head, because they're the real kings of the earth. But see, this dragon, a deceptive serpent, the adversary to this woman with 12 stars, the 12 crowns, 12 kingdoms, the 12 tribes of Israel, you see, 12 kingdoms. The contrary is the nation of Edom, because Jacob and Esau was in the womb. And Jacob is the woman, and Esau is the red child that came out, all red and hairy with goat hair. And that's what the dragon, the great dragon is. With these 10 kings, that's the dragon. These 10 kings are the Edomite kings on the earth. And they went into the dark ages. They wasn't ruling that. In 12 and 20, he said he put what did he say he put on the dragon? He laid hold of the dragon and bound him for 1,000 years. That's these 10 kings was bound for 1,000 years, and that's what he's talking about. When the guy who wrote the poem Africa, that's what he's talking about when he's talking about the dark ages. He's talking about these he's talking about these Edomites who was not ruling at the time. It says he is also known for being the first to develop the concept of the dark ages. This standing back from his time was possible because he straddled two worlds, the classical and his own modern day. And so he was trying to bring Renaissance. Renaissance means rebirth. So he was a major part of the rebirth of these Edomites.
In France, he continued writing and finished his first epic poem, Africa, about the legendary Roman general Scipio Africanus. This poem and his other writings about Roman history became popular, and Francesco Petrarch became a celebrity throughout Europe. On April 8, 1341, he became Rome's poet laureate and was crowned on Capitoline Hill. A poet laureate is someone appointed by the government to compose poems for special events and occasions. Even into modern days, to become a poet laureate is one of a poet's highest honors. After this, Francesco traveled across Europe, where he searched out lost manuscripts from ancient Greece and Rome. He took these manuscripts, fixed them up, and with the help of others translated them for other Italians to read.
I hope we got some edification out of that. All praise to Yahweh, Ba'ashem Yahweh Shai, Ba'ashem Rekakadash. Double honors to the elders, pushing the truth worldwide. Peace to the elect worldwide. The kingdom is at hand. Shalom.